Hello and welcome back to RamsTalkPodcast. And we're here today with a very special episode because Derby have actually signed a player that's not from Yorkshire. It's a bit of a surprise, and we've actually signed a player not from England, which how long has it been since that's happened? The player we've signed is Kenzo Goudmijn. Looks a very, very talented player, plays in the centre of midfield, and I'm joined today by someone who knows quite a lot about him. So joining me today to talk all about our new signing is Emiel from AZ Alerts. How are you, mate?
Thanks for the introduction, Jake, and for having me as well. I'm good. How about you?
I'm very, very good, thank you. Yeah, I'm very grateful. We were talking about it beforehand that I said this is your second language. You said it's your 1.5 language.
Yeah. Well, I study at the University of Amsterdam. It's a full English course, so yeah, I'm quite used to talking in English. I've a good mate who's from London who studies here as well. So yeah, English is no problem for me.
Great stuff. So I just wanted to kick us off by basically asking about him overall as a player. It seems he didn't play too much at AZ. Spent a lot of his time out on loan over the last couple of years. How would you sum him up?
I think he's quite a dynamic midfielder, I'd say. He has a lot of positions where he can play. I was just listing some of his FOTMOB stats as well as where he played for Excelsior last season, because he didn't play for us. He played for another club in the Eredivisie called Excelsior. They got relegated last season. So he played 23 games for them, I believe, and most of them were from deeper in midfield. So he is a player who likes to receive the ball from the defense and carry it on and bring it to the final third. So he's not a midfielder with a lot of goal-scoring potential, I'd say, but he does have really great passing stats. When I was looking this up, I was actually quite surprised they were this good. I'll just name a few. Long ball accuracy is in the 82.1 percentile of the whole Eredivisie of players in that position. So that means that 82% of the players in his position did worse, which is quite a good stat. And you have created chances or chances created, 25. Also through balls, 63% accuracy, which is really good. Passing wise, he's a great player.
Yeah, it certainly sounds that way. I was reading something the other day, and I think a fan of another club who were trying to sign him, ironically, put together a bit of a fact file on him, and I was having a bit of a read, and that was something that was really picked out. The fact that he does seem like one of those players that can pick out a pass. And at Derby, that's something we've struggled with quite a lot. I mean, you say he spent the second half of the season on loan at Excelsior. How was he sort of perceived when he was there? Did AZ fans sort of think, is he the sort of player we could have back, or is he one of those players that was not quite up to it?
It's quite funny you ask this, because I was just writing this down. We called him our own Frenkie de Jong, because
wow.
he's kind of like that type of player where he likes to receive the ball and then carry it on forward. We thought that he would definitely be one of the players who would break into the first team, but unfortunately that didn't happen. I'm not sure why. I think that a big reason is probably his physicality. He is not very strong, and that's also why I was quite surprised personally to hear that he was moving to the championship, because the championship is quite a physical competition for as far as I know. That's one of his weaknesses, although he's such a good player on the ball that he doesn't get into these situations that often. But we expected more from him at AZ. I hope for him that he succeeds at Derby.
Yeah, I think we do as well. We certainly do. I mean, I'm just having a look because I also am one of those people that looks everyone up on FOTMOB straight away the second that we're linked with them. And it seems he came through your academy, made a couple of appearances between 2018 and 2021. Yeah. Ended up going out on loan to Sparta Rotterdam, went on loan to Excelsior, ended up winning promotion, I think, with them as well, up to the Eredivisie. And then ended up heading back there on loan for the second half of the last season. Sort of from a progression perspective, obviously you'll have seen him. He would have come through as a very young player. What are the differences between sort of the Kenzo Goudmijn that you had, back in 2018, pre-COVID, all the way back then, and the one that's leaving to join Derby now?
I think he's just matured quite a bit. Obviously, he has a lot of Eredivisie, well, not a lot, but quite a bit of Eredivisie experience now, and he played I think it was 84 games for a youth squad, which is the second highest division in the Netherlands. So it's also quite a decent competition to get to play in and get experience. So I think he probably has become a bit more or less reckless, I'd say. I think these youth players they really want to show how good they are, and they might get themselves into situations where they should pass the ball, and instead of passing the ball, they go for a dribble, and it doesn't work. So I think, I think the thing he probably improved on the most is his decision making during the games.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense, and that feeds quite nicely into my next question about what sort of positional role. I mean, you mentioned he sits in holding midfield, we call it here. I don't know if you've come across that term before. Defensive midfield. It sits just in front of the defense. It seems like that's kind of the area he operates best. Like you compared him to Frankie De Jong. Would you say that that's his game, picking up the ball from defenders, turning and picking out a pass?
Yeah, that's probably. I think that's probably the reason why Derby also wanted to sign him. He played also a bit from the left at Excelsior, but not really far on the pitch. So we always played just in front of the defense and trying to progress the build-up play from there.
Yeah, Derby love a wing back, so I'm not surprised that he can.
They do.
That he can play in that position. And I suppose this question kind of doesn't really work as much because he didn't play too much for you guys. I mean, in the end, he made overall around 20 appearances over quite a lot of years. But was there ever a game where he sort of came on as a sub or anything like that, where you looked at him and thought, yeah, that's a good performance?
Yeah, he definitely had his fair share of decent games, but was never really amazing. But I also think it's just because there's better players as that in front of him. It doesn't mean that he's a bad player, but we just have really, really good midfielders. I don't know if you know Tijani Reinders, who plays in midfield for our national team. If you would have told me 3 years ago, if you told me 3 years ago that Reinders would play for the Dutch national team, I would have said you're crazy. There's no way. But yeah, that just goes to show that we. I don't know if you know this, but AZ is known as one of the best youth academies in the world. We won the youth league not last season, but the season before, which is a really big achievement. I think we were the first Dutch team to ever do that. So we're quite known for developing good players, and also on the midfield.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you mentioned, Reinders there. We're going to be seeing a lot more of him, I'm sure, when England face the Netherlands later this week.
Yeah, I completely forgot about that one.
Yeah, that'll be an interesting one. And I mean, as a guy, I mean, you see footballers sometimes and you have a bit of a perception of them and how they come across on the pitch, but that can be very different. I mean, Derby have had some players that on the pitch are very aggressive, very angry, and they'll, fight for every ball. And then you speak to them off the pitch and they're actually really nice and and really friendly. What sort of guy is Kenzo Goudmijn?
Well, although I don't know him on a personal level, we do have some contact with him through social media. I think it does say something about a player when we send them a DM and they actually respond. Like we ask them about how's the situation with the club, and they actually give us something back. I think it's quite rare. So, but I don't think he's the type to get really angry at the pitch and like what you described, start fighting for every ball. I think that he can become that player if he has players like that around him that encourage him to do that. But I think he's just a chill guy. Yeah, I think. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I know anything more than that. I think it's just a normal guy who doesn't do crazy things. Like you wouldn't see him like making a tackle out of frustration or stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that Paul Warne, Derby's manager, says is he wants to sign the right people. So I think it's a good sign. We've done a few of these for new signings, and every single person so far has said, they're a nice guy, they're a chill guy, they're a friendly guy. So that's good to hear. And yeah, it's a good sign that we're bringing in sort of the right kinds of people as well. And I guess this is quite an important one. I mean, you said he's behind Dutch internationals in your team, but are there any aspects of his game that do need work?
Yeah, I think that, well, physicality is probably the most important thing for him. And I think he doesn't win a lot of his, I don't know how you say it in English, but aerial battles, like headers. He doesn't win a lot of headers. He's not the tallest guy. He's 173 centimeters, so it's not a big surprise that he doesn't win his headers a lot. But I think that also for defending, he can improve a bit. He doesn't have the best stats for like when it comes to tackling or dribbling. I think he can also improve on a bit, although I do think it's not more his dribble, but more the decision of when he decides to go for a dribble, because at AZ he was always known for his exceptional qualities on the ball. That's why we always called him Frankie de Jong, because he turned so fast, and sometimes it almost looked like he had like glue on his foot. Yeah, so I think probably a bit of defending as well as just getting more physical and winning battles.
Yeah, I think that'll be interesting. I mean, at Derby are looking to sign a player that we had last year who is a big physical presence and will battle and will win balls. So I think if you combine the two together, you suddenly have a good partnership in midfield as well, which should be very, very good to see. And I guess the last question, just to round it off, what can we expect from Kenzo Goudmijn at Derby, and do you think he'll succeed here?
Well, I was thinking about this, and we also had kind of the same type of transfer with Melvin Manhoef to Stoke City. A lot of people in the Netherlands were quite not sure why he chose for that club because the championship is not really it's not really rated that high here.
Yeah, that's not nice.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how good the competition actually is. We just know that it's the second division in England, and there are some really good clubs in there. But I think that the championship is underrated when it comes to players getting the opportunity to develop themselves and get playing time, to get more experience and get better. Manhoef is an example, but you also had Zian Fleming. I don't know if you know him, but I think he still plays at Millwall.
Yeah, I was going to say Millwall.
Yeah. I think he also does a really good job there, and I think that Derby is definitely a club where Goudmijn can show that he is a good player and that he can really carry a squad when it's needed, and contribute positively with his skills on the ball in build-up play, and also with his dribbles.
Yeah. I think Derby fans will certainly be hoping so, because we have desperately needed someone in the centre of midfield that can, as you say, take the ball from defence, pick a pass, and bring us forward from there. I think that's something for a long time Derby have struggled with. We've had a lot of runners, we've had some better players further forward, but we've never had that link between the defence, midfield, and attack. So we'll certainly be hoping that you're right. And
that's definitely something. Yeah. When you say it like that, that is the perfect role for Goudmijn, I think.
There we go. The perfect role. We've signed the perfect player.
I hope so.
I hope so too.
I really hope he succeeds, because I just I feel a bit for the guy, because he was
to Derby.
No. But it was more. It's more because he was looked at as such a great, amazing talent, and he didn't quite make it. So I hope he does make it now at another club.
Yeah, let's definitely hope so. Right, Emiel, thank you so much for joining us. If people want to find out more about you and what you guys do, where can they find you?
Yeah, so we have a website, azalerts.nl, where we publish all the latest AZ news. We have a podcast as well, although that is in Dutch. So maybe some Derby fans want to, practice their Dutch a bit. You can listen to that podcast, and you also get to know a bit about our club as well and the things going on there. And we also are on Instagram and X at AZ Alerts. We're one of the biggest and most active AZ communities out there.
Brilliant stuff. Thank you so much, Emiel. And yeah, if you did enjoy, please do leave a like. Please do subscribe. You know the script by now. If you enjoyed it on Spotify, Apple Pods, give us a rating, which would be great as well. So from me, thank you so much for listening. Dankjewel, Emiel. And I'm sure we'll see you soon. Thanks for having me.